Without wasting your time, here are 6 most disturbing forest encounters caught on camera. In this eerie Halloween-themed video, a Finnish urban explorer known for delving into remote and haunted places revisits an abandoned village deep in the woods, miles away from civilization. This desolate location, which he nicknamed Nightmare Cottages, was originally meant to be a series of charming fairy tale cottages, but now lies decayed and deserted. The narrator describes his drive into the dark forest under a slight drizzle, enhancing the suspenseful mood of the Halloween night. With only his flashlight and a heavy-duty lantern for light, he ventures into the silence, locking his car, a small but telling action that hints at the isolation he's about to face. The night is quiet, but heavy, and he can almost sense something foreboding about this forgotten place. Equipped with cameras and flashlights, he approaches the first of the dilapidated cottages with a mix of excitement and dread. He reminds his viewers that it has been over a year since he last dared to come here, and the memories are just as unsettling as he approaches the creaking entrance. Inside the cottages, the narrator encounters a strange assortment of abandoned household items. Newspapers, hockey sticks, blankets, and vintage furniture, all gathering dust in rooms cloaked in shadow. The atmosphere of each room feels heavy, as if frozen in a past from which it never awoke. His flashlight reveals old magazines and Scandinavian newspapers from the 1960s, leading him to share a local tale. A bear had attacked and claimed the life of a village woman. This horrific event added to the area's dark lore, and as he reads about the bear attack, a chill settles over him, his nerves visibly heightened by the story of how the bear terrorized the residents, forcing the town to mobilize in an effort to eliminate it. Climbing the creaking stairs to explore the cottage's upper levels, he's met with remnants that evoke memories of the lives once lived here. A vintage sofa, rusted tools, broken dishes, and even a child's tricycle. These simple items, now decaying and covered in dust, somehow seem ominous in the faint glow of his flashlight. Each object prompts him to wonder about the former residents, what they might have left behind, and why. There's a persistent sense of tension as he moves through the abandoned rooms. In a low voice, he reflects on his own feelings toward the supernatural. Despite his skepticism, he confesses to feeling the weight of the dark, empty spaces. Every creak of the old floorboards, every shadow cast, and every unexplained sound amplifies his unease. The cottage's decrepit walls seem to close in, filled with secrets. The stormy weather outside heightens the tension, a reminder that the present moment is layered over a history full of unknowns. In another room, he discovers a rusty tricycle and children's toys, which give the abandoned cottage a ghostly charm, implying that children once played and laughed here. His flashlight illuminates faded portraits, cracked from age, and the remnants of family life from a time now shrouded in mystery. Moving from room to room, the relics continue to tell their own silent story. His camera lingers on an old sewing machine, a dusty fireplace, and a large pot once used to brew family meals, each a haunting memento of a lost world. He considers how it must have been for the people who once called this village home, sensing their presence through the objects they left behind. The kitchen, though small, holds artifacts that feel strangely personal and intimate, like ghostly traces of the everyday lives of those who once inhabited the cottage. Finally, he steps outside. The night air has grown colder, and rain falls lightly. At one point, he stands at the entrance of the building, half expecting to hear the whispers of former residents carried on the breeze. The silence is eerie, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. As he gets ready to leave this place, he records a final shot of him talking in front of the cottage. While recording, he catches something on camera that he didn't realize at the time.
And go creepy houses and these woods. So, okay, this babbling thing again. Should I just say bye? Or out of words, that's rare. Okay, maybe. Ooh, my head shadow. Okay. happy Halloween. Have a great time. And see you again in next video. Bye.
Creeping through the window, there is a red woman-like figure staring at him. How did this figure get here? Is it even a figure or something else? Was it just a Halloween prank? Like always, I will let you decide in the comments. This video, posted by the Lost Places and Legends channel, captures nighttime explorations of a forest that delves into something unknown. Known for suspenseful storytelling and first-person experiences, this channel draws viewers into the thrill of the unknown. The exploration begins with the group noting an immediate feeling of being watched as they advance into the woods. Despite having their flashlights and some weapons, they express uncertainty and speculate about the source of an eerie noise that appears to be following them. Throughout the early part of their journey, the adventurers are on high alert, discussing the possibility that something might be lurking nearby. The atmosphere is intensified by the sight of an unusually bright full moon, which peeks through the trees, casting ominous shadows on their path and giving the setting an almost supernatural feel. As the explorers move deeper into the woods, they continue to hear faint sounds, some of which resemble low talking or whispering rather than animal noises. They pause periodically, hoping to catch a glimpse of what they suspect is following them. At one point, they see what appears to be a pair of eyes watching them from a distance, which vanish when they try to approach.
Hey, there's the eyes. Come here, they are looking straight at us. Well, either they moved or they closed their eyes or something. Right there, turn.
This sighting amplifies their suspicions that they are not alone, but they are still unable to identify what or who might be observing them. They express a mixture of fear and excitement, as the night has taken on an unmistakably strange quality, especially given the silence of the woods, a stillness they find more alarming than the occasional sounds they do hear. At several points in the video, the group discusses the possibility of encountering something supernatural or otherworldly, though they dismiss the idea of Bigfoot. Despite the tension, they continue their investigation, turning their flashlights in every direction in the hopes of spotting the mysterious figure. They discover that whatever they are following seems to move intelligently and deliberately, staying just outside the range of their flashlights and keeping them on edge. Occasionally, they hear something that sounds like footsteps or movement nearby, only for it to stop abruptly whenever they move closer. These moments of uncertainty add to the suspense as they try to interpret the signs, leaving the nature of the presence ambiguous, yet unsettling. As they progress, they encounter several closed paths and blocked roads, which makes navigation challenging and restricts their movement. The group also becomes cautious of potential natural hazards, including snakes, and expresses concern about venturing into overgrown or poorly lit areas. They speculate that these blocked paths might lead to even more secluded sections of the forest, which could explain the feeling of isolation they experience. Yet, despite the growing unease and reluctance to stray too far off visible paths, their curiosity drives them forward, compelled to unravel the mystery of their unseen companion. Later in the exploration, the adventurers experience yet another startling sighting of glowing eyes in the dark, this time moving swiftly across their path.
I do. I'm telling you, there's something out there in them woods.
They debate its size and whether it could be an animal, but note that the eyes appear to be higher off the ground than typical wildlife. This second sighting increases the group's anxiety, as they are now more certain that they are being watched by something or someone who is intent on staying hidden. This constant elusiveness adds to their nervousness, as they realize that whatever is following them seems to understand their movements and is deliberately avoiding direct confrontation. They begin to wonder if this entity is intelligent, and, if so, how it might be interacting with them on a psychological level by keeping its distance. Near the end of the video, the group takes a path that seems to loop back, leading them to the area from which they initially entered. They discuss whether it might be safer to conclude their exploration, given the lingering sensation of being observed and the apparent lack of progress in identifying the source. As they reach the road near their vehicle, they acknowledge the possibility that the entity was not a wild animal, especially considering how silently and strategically it moved. They express a combination of disappointment and relief at the anticlimactic ending, though the experience has left them with a sense of lingering mystery and a reluctance to stay in the woods any longer. In this video, the host, a seasoned urban explorer known for venturing into remote, spine-chilling locations, guides viewers through an unsettling journey deep within an isolated forest. The channel specializes in eerie adventures and unsolved mysteries, often delving into the world's abandoned and hidden spots. The exploration begins on a densely wooded trail, where the host describes his surroundings with wary fascination. He finds himself in a hidden section of the forest surrounded by fallen trees, rugged paths, and isolated hills, a setting that feels both secluded and vaguely threatening. In his narrative, he mentions that despite its remote nature, the forest has occasional hikers and bikers passing through, and he has encountered some of them before. Still, the solitude here is undeniable, and the trees create a natural wall, blocking any easy escape. This landscape hints at an eerie isolation, raising the stakes as he continues into uncharted territory. The tension heightens when he stumbles upon a strange sight.
Anyway, I'll cut right to the chase because I might die. Look what these are. What the is going on in here? And this isn't like woods I've never been to. Like, I've been here before. I've been here a lot. I've been here so much, I've actually been to the hospital getting stitches because of some of the adventures that I've had. That's beside the point. These are all different people. And they're all just... This is Utah, Florida. They're all different. They're all different. Every single one. This one's from Georgia. And look at this shit. Like, look where the we are.
Several laminated missing person posters tied to the trees, each weather-worn but still visible. They bear names and faces from various locations across the United States, including individuals from Utah, Florida, California, and Indiana. The host examines each poster closely, visibly disturbed by the array of seemingly unrelated cases displayed in such a hidden area. His voice reflects a growing anxiety, questioning who would place these posters in such an obscure spot. Why here? He asks himself. With each new discovery, the mood becomes more intense. He notices that each poster is fastened with unusual care, no haphazard placement here. Each missing person flyer, some dating back over a decade, tells a story, and the host speculates on why they're all displayed together, almost like a shrine to the lost. Could this be a tribute, a warning, or something else? The uncertainty looms, keeping both him and viewers on edge. Small details add to the creepy atmosphere. The posters are aged, showing signs of wear from the elements, yet they've held up remarkably well. This suggests someone has been tending to this area, maintaining these haunting memorials. A sense of unease settles over the host, amplified by his realization that he may not be as alone as he thought. As he presses on, he spots something even stranger. A makeshift lean-to or cage, crafted from sticks lashed together, giving the impression of a carefully constructed trap. Near this structure lies a small, freshly dug hole partially covered, and beside it a rusty shovel. The host's commentary reflects his rising anxiety, noting the precision required to create these eerie structures. The combination of the missing person posters and the cage-like construction intensifies the mystery, hinting at a hidden purpose behind these disturbing items. His apprehension escalates as he begins to feel he may be intruding on something he was never meant to see. The silence in the forest is deafening, broken only by his footsteps and the occasional snap of a twig. Suddenly he hears distant voices, faint but unmistakable, making his surroundings feel hostile.
3 years old, missing from Illinois, 2007. Oh shit, I heard voices. We have to get the out of here.
His voice drops to a whisper as he decides to leave, realizing he might not be alone after all. He repeatedly glances over his shoulder, half expecting to see someone emerge from the dense trees. His anxiety is palpable, and he can't shake the feeling that whoever placed these posters might still be lurking nearby, watching his every move. Though he wants to document as much as he can, he's clearly ready to leave, prioritizing his safety over further exploration. His final remarks reveal an unsettled tone, acknowledging that this hidden area in the forest holds more mysteries than answers. On 12th August 2024, this video was uploaded on Jake Travis's YouTube channel, The Hoggat Project. In this video, he shares a personal and suspenseful account of a solo camping experience in a remote woodland area. The video opens with Jake venturing into the woods and setting up camp in the mountains, capturing the sense of serenity and isolation in nature. He explores the area, finding a creek and a level spot suitable for pitching a tent. After selecting a location with soft ground and hanging a tarp between trees, he describes his method for setting up camp and making the site comfortable, noting the tranquil yet eerie atmosphere as night begins to fall. The narrator soon notices various unsettling sounds coming from the surrounding woods, describing them as heavy noises or crunches that seem too substantial to be made by small animals. At one point, he pauses to listen, cautiously shining his light into the darkness but seeing nothing. Although he attributes the noises to the natural settling of logs or perhaps distant hikers, he remains uneasy. This initial disturbance is only the first of several strange occurrences that leave him feeling increasingly uncomfortable and on edge. He tries to shake off his anxiety by focusing on the tasks at hand. However, the sounds persist and seem to be getting closer.
Definitely something over there.
In one instance, the noises appear to come from just 50 feet away near the creek, prompting him to investigate with his flashlight. The eerie quiet that follows when he stops to listen only heightens his suspicion that something or someone might be lurking nearby. After a period of quiet, he hears the sounds once more, this time closer and seemingly parallel to his position, raising his concern that he might not be alone in the woods. In this reflective moment, he considers his choice of location by the creek, thinking it may inadvertently attract animals or other wanderers seeking water. Weighing his options, he briefly debates whether to start a fire or remain stealthy to avoid drawing attention to himself. His growing apprehension eventually compels him to pack up his camp, prioritizing his safety over the experience of staying in the wilderness. As he makes his way back to the road, he stops for a final glance toward the creek, only to be met with a chilling sight. In the beam of his vehicle's high lights, he sees what appears to be a person standing motionless by the side of the road, dressed in camouflage and angled away from him. He describes this figure as frozen, almost statue-like, as if attempting to blend in and avoid detection. The experience concludes with the narrator reflecting on the unsettling nature of the encounter and wondering what might have transpired had he stayed in the woods longer. Although there is no footage of the man, his word only seems to be enough proof for his viewers. What do you think about this encounter? As always, don't forget to let me know in the comments. This video was uploaded on the Work Less Enjoy Life More YouTube channel on the 17th of October 2024. The channel is known for its tranquil, yet subtly thrilling nature explorations. The host, Larry, a seasoned outdoorsman, shares moments of peaceful camping in secluded spots across the United States. The journey of this story begins with Larry's early morning drive on rugged mountain backroads, finding himself surrounded by towering trees and burnt remnants of an old forest fire. The air is crisp, the sky vast, and a remote beauty fills the scene as Larry finds a perfect camping spot nearly 7,000 feet above sea level. Cell service is minimal, leaving him almost completely disconnected from civilization, a thrilling prospect for an adventurer, but one that also raises the stakes as he ventures deeper into the wilderness. His dogs, Mason and Marty, add a sense of warmth and companionship to the otherwise silent setting. After setting up camp before sundown, Larry talks about the challenges of preparing for a night in the forest. He sets up a fire with hickory wood chunks, noting how quickly the temperature drops in the high desert as the sun slips below the horizon. Despite the peace of the surrounding nature, a slight tension builds as night falls. Larry's comments reveal his subtle wariness of the wood's unpredictable nature. He's aware of how sounds can amplify in the stillness and how solitude sharpens one's senses. The fire crackles, casting flickering shadows as he prepares his meal on a portable stove, making a cowboy ribeye and talking about his recent dietary shifts towards a keto-inspired menu. As he cooks, night fully descends, and a distinct eeriness fills the air. The shadows stretch further, blending into the forest's darkened contours, leaving Larry and his dogs as the only sources of movement and sound. Suddenly, a strange sound disrupts the calm, something snapping in the distance. Although he tries to dismiss it as a fallen branch, his nerves visibly sharpen. His voice softens, and his eyes flicker toward the shadows surrounding the camp. He shares that on past trips, unexplained sounds in the forest have spiked his anxiety, making the silence feel almost oppressive. The flickering firelight enhances the spooky atmosphere as he settles in to enjoy his meal. But with each crunch of leaves or distant snap of a twig, the sense of isolation grows more profound. Larry mentions the unsettling sensation of being watched and his wish to see an animal, just to confirm he isn't alone in an ominous way. This subtle fear taps into a universal unease that comes with being exposed to the vast, uncontrollable wilderness at night. After dinner, Larry attempts to unwind by the fire, but he finds himself constantly scanning the tree line. The crackling of the fire becomes his only company against the night's looming silence. His dogs remain close, their alert stances hinting that they too feel something peculiar in the air. Larry describes his hope that if there is something out there, whether animal or unknown, he'd at least catch a glimpse of it to put his mind at ease. Morning eventually arrives, bringing a sense of relief and familiarity back to the camp. Larry and his dogs wake up, somewhat refreshed from their night in the wild. He brews his morning coffee, appreciating the peace that the daylight brings as he watches his dogs explore the campsite. In the daylight, Larry recounts the previous night's eerie moments with a sense of humor. But what causes those sounds during the night remains a mystery. The YouTube video titled "A Meditator Surrounded by a Giant Snake" comes from a channel which has gained a reputation for its eerie explorations into mysterious and often paranormal encounters. The host, in his signature eerie tone, greets viewers and sets the stage for the experience. He describes how they are about to uncover the mystery of a man meditating deep in the jungle, allegedly surrounded by a colossal snake, an animal described by locals as like a dragon. The initial suspense builds as the host speaks to the power of this encounter, warning viewers that this is not an everyday sighting, but something far more mystic and rare. The team's journey begins and they move through thick, dense forest. The path they traverse is treacherous, covered in uneven rocks, dense roots, and slippery slopes, heightening the suspense. The host narrates each step of the way, emphasizing the isolation and rugged beauty of the natural landscape, which, despite its beauty, has an unsettling quality. There is a palpable tension, and the team frequently stops, sensing an inexplicable presence that seems to envelop the surrounding wilderness. As the host and team continue, they come across a villager who shares his personal account of encountering the meditative figure and the snake. The villager describes his initial shock and fear upon seeing a man in a deep trance, sitting on a large stone, unmoving and seemingly oblivious to the world around him. But what stunned the villager even more was the enormous snake, its body thick and scaled. The villager explains how he initially thought he was hallucinating, unable to believe that a snake of this size could be so near a person, appearing almost tame. The massive snake's presence was both mesmerizing and terrifying, its very existence seeming to defy the natural order. The team moves forward with caution, stepping carefully on the narrow trails and uneven surfaces. There's a pervasive silence in the air, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves. As they approach the spot where the villager claimed to have seen the man, the host reflects on the possible significance of this scene. The locals, he explains, consider the snake to be not merely an animal, but a mystical guardian, a dragon spirit that has taken physical form to protect the man. There are whispers that the man might be a hermit or spiritual figure who has achieved a deep connection with nature, allowing him to coexist with such a powerful creature. When the team finally reaches the clearing, they are awestruck by what they find.
Masya Allah. Ternyata bener ya, teman-teman ya. Masya Allah, teman-teman. Beneran itu, Pak. Bukan akar itu, bukan. Besar sekali ya, teman-teman ya. Oh iya, dua sama yang itu ya. 2 ekor ularnya loh. Masya Allah, merah sama kuning ya, teman-teman ya. Subhanallah. Ini narasumbernya ya, yang tahu orang betapa di sini ya, teman-teman. Bapak ini rencana mencari rumput.
There, on a large, flat stone, sits the meditative figure, his posture completely still, eyes closed, his face serene. Encircling him is the massive snake, its head resting close to the man, its body coiled in a protective, almost reverent way. The snake's sheer size is staggering. Its scales glint in the dim light filtering through the canopy. The team barely dares to breathe, sensing the sacredness of the scene before them. The host comments on the surreal beauty and danger of the moment, whispering as though fearful of angering the snake or disturbing the hermit's profound state of meditation. The host is transfixed by the sight, contemplating the unusual relationship between the man and the snake. He speculates that the man might be a spiritual practitioner who has achieved a state of harmony with the natural world, allowing him to coexist with such a creature. The snake, though ferocious in appearance, sits motionless, an indication that it might recognize the man's peaceful energy. The host even suggests that the snake is more than a mere animal. It could be a guardian spirit watching over the meditative figure and warding off any threats. This strange connection leaves the team and viewers alike pondering the mysteries of the natural world and the hidden powers that lie within it. As they prepare to leave, the team is overwhelmed with emotion, a blend of awe and trepidation. The host expresses his amazement at the experience, feeling as though they have witnessed something supernatural. He reflects on the possibility that there are realms of spirituality and nature that humans barely understand, where creatures like the snake act as protectors and allies rather than predators. The host also contemplates the possibility that this man is a hermit who has lived in isolation for years, sustained by his meditation and protected by his bond with the snake. And with that, I'm out.